Welcome to the Journos on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Steve Mcgowan and Gordon Parks here with me in the studio, and we're sponsored by Blair Park Commercial Properties. Blair Park by Commercial Properties and offer leaseback solutions to help your business. If you go on to blairparkproperties.co.uk, you'll be able to access all the information that will allow you to sell your property. Okay, with that in mind, we've got lots to talk about on the programme today, and I'm going to get these two guys thinking long and hard about some of the topics we'll be discussing, courtesy of cancelmyparkingticket.com. We've offered you a 20% discount code. If you want to take up your case, all you have to do is go to the website and put in PLZ20 and you'll get that discount right up until the end of this month. Still time to do it. With that, the headlines that we're going to be talking about: Scotland with a couple of friendlies coming up. Is there realistically a chance for someone just to break into that World Cup squad ahead of those three big games in the United States in the World Cup in the summer? These guys will give us their thoughts on that. We'll also be talking about the race for the title, which just keeps taking twists and turns along the way, and Mo Salah has decided enough is enough at Liverpool. He's going to leave at the end of the season and probably sign a lucrative deal elsewhere. Does he make it into the greatest ever Liverpool 11? We'll get your thoughts on that. And we're launching on PLZ Soccer on our website, a chance for you to win a fabulous painting of your favourite player of your choice. And all you have to do is give us your choice on who you think should be in the top 50 Premier League players since 1975. Now, there's been various guises of the Premier League, but it initially started in 1975. 50 players we want to put in there, and then we'll automatically get it into 50 down to 1, and then we'll have a major rammy because people won't agree with who's the number one player in the years from 1975 onwards. But it's not necessarily the best you're voting for, because basically we'll put everybody in the hat, we'll pull one lucky person out, and you get to pick your favourite player, and our artist Gio Thompson will paint that for you, and you'll get an exclusive canvas, which is a belter, Parsley.
English Premier League?
No, Scottish Premier League since 1975, because as you're well aware, the English Premier League started in 1992. So,
do you know the great thing about that is the fact that...
Not even a minute old, you've been burned already.
Let's not talk about burning, Stephen.
Absolutely, man.
The great thing about that prize is your favourite players, not this, I mean, ability going winning games, golden moments. Your favourite player is something that can be abstract. Falkirk fans.
Well,
Simon Stainrod.
Yes.
People like that. Kevin McAllister.
Can I throw something in there? I mean, the good thing about that kind of topic is it's all subjective. You know, people will, Celtic and Rangers fans will have their belief on who should be number one. But I was thinking about it, I thought to myself, top 50 players, I wonder if the Aberdeen fans will be automatically thinking, Hans Heelhouse.
Yeah.
He was a player.
Recency bias is always the thing with these, isn't it? These surveys, you always tend to, there'll be a lot of younger fans out there who will only know a certain generation, there won't be too many votes for Zoltan Varga, for example.
But hang on, that works both ways, doesn't it? It works both ways. Our childhood, certainly my teenage years, Charlie Nicholas was my idol. And that will always be the case. So I think it is. It fits into whatever.
Well, you've got Motherwell and Rangers fans who'll vote for Davy Cooper,
Absolutely.
which is a stonewall certainty. But you've got players down through the years. Ian Jessa, another one that swings to mind. But you've got players from 75 onwards where you're saying to yourself, okay, Kenny Dalglish played in the Premier League for a couple of years before he moved to Liverpool. Also, Pat Stanton played. You mentioned Willie Pettigrew, but Pat Stanton played for Hibs and then played for Celtic and won the double in '77. So there's lots of...
It's a brilliant question.
It really is.
John Robertson, Hegarty, Neri, Miller, McQueen, Sturrock.
Yeah. Played with them all.
It's going to be torture getting that down to 50.
It's going to be fantastic, isn't it? So there you are. We'll give you the details of that, but we thought we'd get the ball rolling today on it. As far as quiz questions are concerned, we always like to throw one in, topical as it is. How many goals has Mo Salah scored for Liverpool? He's the third all-time top goal scorer at Anfield, and we want to know how many goals you think that is. And by the end of the programme, we'll give you the answer. Simple as that. Thanks to Elite Joinery and Fire Protection for sponsoring our quiz question every day. Always gets everybody thinking. Okay, to Scotland friendlies. Some people like the international break. Some people actually are not liking it because this title race has got more twists and turns ahead. Which
gets in the way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It takes it flat. And you can always tell because some journalists have got nothing to do and they start coming up with mad stuff.
Remember when you watched that series back in the day, Dallas or whatever, when there was always a kind of week that it wasn't on because there was an election on or something, you had to wait an extra week to find out who shot JR. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Latest instalment.
Yes.
When was the last time we had a Premier League where you actually were on the edge of your seat waiting and bustling for the next instalment?
Absolutely, and I think this one is certainly the best I can recall in years. In fact, the best one since the helicopter. Is that fair?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking back. 1998 was a good one. Remember when Hearts won the Scottish Cup? Hearts were in the running until 5 games from the end. They lost 1-0 to Motherwell, then they lost to the Edinburgh Derby. It all kind of fell to bits a bit for them, but they were really close.
86 was good.
86 was good. 91, Hearts were quite close to Rangers, but Rangers were on the way to 9 in a row. They were far and away above the best. 91, as you say.
Was 2003 good because it was down at Kilmarnock and Dunfermline were at Ibrox?
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, you're talking about Celtic and Rangers finales. This one's different because there's 3 of them. Listen, people will argue maybe there's not 3 of them anymore after Celtic losing, but mathematically there still is. There's 3 of them. This is a completely different narrative. We've seen a few Celtic and Rangers head-to-heads, but this is different.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, this one, and I hate to be the killjoy on it, but it's different, but it's not because it's great quality. It's just because it's unbelievably exciting. But I had Colin Cameron as a special guest this week, and he just mentioned the fact that it's special because, Hearts just do what they do. And you've got to have that belief. The fans are starting to believe. Some of the generation are not, but there's now a situation where there's 7 games to go, and while every one of us is trying to count them out at times, they're still there.
I loved your anecdote from the weekend where the roar that went up and Lawrence Shankland and Cammy Devlin get introduced before the game, as if a goal had been scored. I mean, that's encapsulating the whole West End of Edinburgh. Gorgie must be on fire. They, again, deliver a 1-0 result, putting along. How long can they putt for? 7 games to go.
You'd written them off last week in this
still
show.
Not for me, and I understand why.
You surely can't be backing Celtic still.
I think Celtic had the shock of their life at Tannadice, and if they can't respond from that, then, like I said to you, these games up until the split decide who wins the league.
Well, you said in the last 2 weeks that this is the business end where you get, basically counted out when you slip up.
Yeah.
I mean, Rangers and Hearts were able to step up to the plate.
They were. I was at Ibrox and again they won. It was convincing, but how convincing were they? Not that much.
Well, it's funny you say that because I understand it because it's the nature of the beast. Rangers have a good win and people say Rangers are back with the momentum again. But it's a good home win. And we know the problem for Rangers is not games at Ibrox so much. It's on the road. And they're going to have tough away games. Falkirk, Hearts... Falkirk, Hearts and Celtic, I think they're away.
Yeah.
Possibly Motherwell, I'm not sure yet, post-split. But we've seen Rangers drop points at Motherwell, we've seen drop points at Hibs, we've seen drop points at Livingston. I thought the win at St Mirren, they got there in the end, but I don't think it was especially convincing.
Yeah, too many draws through the season, Rangers. That's been their problem.
Yeah, well, Celtic with too many defeats. I mean, I don't think I certainly don't think Celtic and Rangers are terribly convincing yet so far. That's why, for me, I still think Hearts can do it.
If they can keep the cushion up into the split.
But that's why these players coming back is big though, isn't it?
That is a massive deal.
Yeah.
The whole, I'm saying it, no wonder they're getting a hero's welcome coming back because they are significant. That kind of hidden ingredient, the character and the influence on the team they both bring.
I mean, the other thing I forgot to mention is they're now greeting them as if they're the Liverpool bus coming in at Anfield. Flares, ultras, everybody. They're really giving it the full treatment to them. Just to try and gear the players up to know exactly what it means to them. But the one thing in the after-match press conference, which I have been alluding to this week, is the fact that Derek is growing in confidence, not arrogance, confidence, because he's got the players coming back.
Derek's born for this moment. He carries himself so well. He loves that moment. He loves the being able to be the guy to deliver. because he believes he is that guy. Was there a nervousness at Tynecastle? Did you feel it?
I felt a tenseness for about an hour. I felt that it started to grow just when they realised, well, between 60 and 76 minutes, there were chances, and then you started to sense just a little bit of tension in the crowd. But again, like previous games that I've been at Tynecastle, they find a way, Stephen.
And that's the question, get into this final few weeks. And it's unfair in a way, because for the last 60 years, Hearts have been the kind of nearly men of the Scottish League. Get 65 with a losing goal average to Kilmarnock before goal difference comes in the following season. You look at 86, final day. Look at 91 where they lose to Rangers, come second. Look at 98 where Jim Jeffries had them in the hunt before they won the Scottish Cup. And then you look at 2006 where Romanov blew the thing up after George Burley. The thing is, these young players who are playing for them now are not affected by any of that. But the fans will have it in their mind.
Do you think the fans of a certain generation
yes,
will have it?
Absolutely.
Because the youngsters don't care.
Absolutely.
They think it's on.
Yeah. They're perfectly entitled to feel it, but there will be a generation of Hearts fans who will always have that, we've been here. We know what can happen, and that will contribute, I think, to that tension you talk about at Tynecastle. But its very nature, when you've got season tickets, a lot of them will be over 50 and what have you.
Yeah.
Because they've got the money to pay for season tickets. So I think the weight of history is something Hearts have to overcome apart from anything else.
And over and above that, I'm looking at them and I'm saying, okay, they've got these big key players coming back. I just think Devlin is massive for them, because suddenly he fits in beautifully with this boy Mark Leonard. And I mean, it's not as if it's unbelievably free-flowing football a la Motherwell, but it's still effective. They've still got options, and with Shanklin there as well, they've got the one thing that I think Celtic and Rangers don't have, which is a striker who can score goals.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the questions about Trimiti, Nadiri, early days for those two, but there are questions there. I don't think anyone's doubting that. You look at Celtic, Dyson Maeda last year was on fire. This time last year he had 29 goals. This season he has 8. He hasn't scored since January the 10th. Yeah. So it's a 4-0 win. So Celtic, I think actually if you look at the Celtic strikers out now, centre forwards, I think Johnny Kenny probably still scored more than any of them.
He has.
So that's a remarkable situation. And Martin O'Neill is throwing jelly at a wall, hoping something sticks. Nothing is. And Hearts have this body of work. They've got. They've got Braga, they've got Shanklin. Kizarides has gone off the boil a bit.
Yep.
But, they've got players there who really can make a difference and can be game match winners, and they're entitled to be.
Here's the irony, though. We spoke a few months ago about the transfer window being crucial. I mean, a big hullabaloo about how pivotal it would be. There'd be somebody who would get signed that would step forward and carry their team, drag them over the line. Nobody's emerged. Nobody.
Well, yeah.
Other than Lawrence Shanklin coming back, Cammy Devlin coming back. That could prove to be, if Hearts go and win it, the key moments, I think.
I mean, this is obviously, you pick up on social media and you look at certain things that are kicking in. And I think the unfortunate thing for Martin O'Neill, as he still tries to produce miracles, I think one more draw kills him, for me. Of the 7 games left, when Callum McGregor issues this last-ditch rallying cry saying, they've got 7 games, they've got to go and win them. But I looked at it and I thought to myself, every defeat or draw takes every fan's mind back to where they want to be with the fallout with the board. And you look at Celtic and you say to yourself, Araho, there's now talk, he won't be back. Adamu hasn't contributed. This goes to your point. Javan Chara, he won't be signed, surely. I don't see them signing him. Sarachi is not a bad player. Mvuka, nobody knows what he does. Benjamin Arthur will undoubtedly go back because he wants to have a career for himself at Brentford. And then you've got Palmer, Norowski, Welsh, Yamada, Johnny Kenny, and Inamura, who'll all have to come back. And then you've got James Forrest, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Kasper Schmeichel, and Kelechi Iheanacho.
I made it, Peter. I sat and did a list like this the other week, and I think it's certainly 18 players could go out.
Oh, yeah, and that's not counting Maeda, Hatate and Bernardo.
Well, I think I might have been including them.
Were you?
In the 18, but the one I wasn't including, which is going to be interesting, was Callum McGregor. Because, I mean, for me, I think the criticism of Callum McGregor is over the top. But you come to the end of a cycle sometimes of a team, don't you? You saw it with Scott Brown eventually.
Yeah.
no criticism of him. The time had just come when it felt like a natural break. If you get a new manager in, if you get a new head of recruitment coming in, you've got probably, if they get 18 out the door, they'll probably try and sign 12. It's been Celtic. So, no, but I'm actually being genuine. I think they probably are carrying too much deadwood.
Yes.
And then you've got that question, do you want Cal McGregor to lead it up? Do you want to make a complete clean break? The scale of the rebuild that's to be done there is immense. And I don't know if you can guarantee, even when they do it, because of the scale of the rebuild, that Celtic will come back as what we know as Celtic. Because...
do you think this is mismanagement on a grand scale?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely no question about that. I mean, two things had to happen for this scenario to come to pass. Rangers or Hearts had to get better. That has happened. The Celtic had to drop the ball on a spectacular level, and they've done that. And it comes right for the very top of the club. There is understandable criticism of the board of directors, but I don't know if anybody really believes that board of directors has genuine power or clout over what happens at Celtic.
I'm going to get a point to you on this, but I'm going to ask him first, and then you can throw your tuppence worth in on it. I've been speaking to some financial people who clearly feel that you always try and second guess the end game on this when you know the Hearts game, because they outlined at the start of the season to much ridicule, which was this is year one of a plan towards trying to win the league and not have Celtic and Rangers dominating. You know the Rangers plan because it's now an American one where they've distanced themselves from that old guard of 6 or 7 Rangers investors all fighting for power. So you've got a clear strategy from them now. You've got 77 million in the bank, and you know some of the people I've been speaking to think it looks as if he's gearing up for a sale.
Don't see any evidence of that. I mean, I can understand the logic, because if you look at what Ross Desmond said, they think they are being sustainable. What was the phrase he used? He said, "You can't afford to swing and miss." He said, by taking a punt at it. I think the situation is toxic. I mean, I've kind of written in the Herald, I don't think anything changes at Celtic really until everything changes, and I think it has to come absolutely right from the top. But I don't necessarily see any great impetus for that. I mean, the advantage that Dermot Desmond has is that he can live in Dublin, he can live in Barbados. He doesn't have to weather all this grief and this hassle that's been piled on Brian Wilson and Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay at Tannadice. He can distance himself from it. I think with any billionaire, most of the time they probably think with some justification they're always the smartest men in the room. So they can afford to switch off to whatever criticism is coming their way.
What about the point I put to Stephen? And I'll caveat that by saying, can you still move forward when the fans no longer accept you?
Question that is, it's probably the case that you cannot, but Celtic will try to. That's the difference. There's a lack of gratitude element. The board, there's a perception, the fans that expect, and the lack of gratitude for what they've done. That's their point of view. The polar opposite is what the fans are projecting towards the board. How do you solve that problem? That problem can only be solved with surgery within the boardroom, and that's not going to take place, in my opinion. So where do you leave you in a stalemate? And that's where Celtic's big danger is. They will not progress the way they should, and they won't revamp and reinvent themselves as a proper. It's been, the recruitment, everything about the club, the toxicity about it, is a byproduct of the complacency which has been around the whole place for a long time.
I've seen people saying parts of it. It might be a good thing for Celtic. I've made the point myself. It might be a good thing for them if they finish third, if they're consigned to Conference League football, because they don't, let's be honest, they probably don't deserve to win the league, really, based on their performances this season, based on the way the club has been run, the way it's been functioning. But will that really be the wake-up call that we think will be required at the level of Dermot Desmond? I don't know if it will be. I mean, I remember making the same point after the Scottish Cup final, when Celtic finished with Johnny Kenny up front and Greg Taylor in midfield, and you thought, well, surely this will be the call that will make Celtic say, it's time to get real here. Nothing.
Well, can I ask you a question then? The foresight that Brendan Rodgers maybe had that we didn't appreciate at the time could be visionary.
Well, what did we not appreciate?
Well,
I think most people did.
Do you think to the extent of where we are?
It became divisive at the end, but I think a lot of people turned on Rodgers for his tactics. But I think looking at what we know now, you can see that he had a pretty valid point. Whether he was the right man to bring back because of the way Celtic are run is a different argument. Hugh always makes this point, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Hugh McDonald makes the point that bringing Rodgers back was a mistake because it was always going to be this standoff between this Premier League elite manager and this board who run a sustainable, cautious ship. They were a poor match. They wanted the same things, but they disagreed on how to get there. So maybe that was a mistake, but was Rodgers right? I think so.
As a coach, he was right. As an individual who goes back to the same things, the leopard never changes his spots on this one. And it was just, you were always aware of the way it was going to end when he didn't get his way. It's not just a unique thing to Celtic, it's at every club he's at. If he doesn't sense he's getting his way with what he wants, then suddenly they become the problem. But it's not about going over Brendan Rodgers now. I think it's just about, I mean, Martin Neal's been asked to work miracles. But I take Stephen's point about they don't really deserve to win it the way they've conducted themselves. But the point I was going to make to you, which is what I asked Stephen, is I can't work out why you would stockpile £77 million worth of cash. You have got a turnover which is so impressive in this league, and you've got a percentage chance always of winning to get into the Champions League. I can't work out why it's not being fattened up to sell it.
I think you need to be fair. Carter Vickers, Jota, Alistair Johnson, Engels, the inability to bring a striker in. You can't account, you talk about Shankland and Devlin being out, how catastrophic it could potentially be for Hearts or has been. Celtic have suffered massive, probably more than any other title challenger, and that has put them in the position that they're in, because I don't think if those players are missing, Maeda are going off the boil as well spectacularly. If these guys were there, we're not having this conversation's mute.
If I don't point Wilfred and Nancy having in that conversation, that's following their point. But I mean, they to be devil's advocate for 1 second, they will argue that they gave a chunk of that money to Rodgers for Arne Engels, for Adamida and for Austin Trusty, and that those signings did not work. Well, you can argue whether they worked or not.
You think he signed them?
Do I think he signed them? Ida, yes. Engels, that was the best option on the table because of more physicality. Trusty, probably, yeah.
Think so?
I think so, yeah.
I think out of a lot of the players that I've just rhymed off to you, I think he would not have sanctioned them.
Oh, well, yeah, I thought you were just talking about the three I mentioned.
Yeah, no, that whole lot there.
Well, there's a lot, obviously. There's a lot of club signings.
Yeah, and I think Martin knows, and Martin O'Neill definitely knows that he was trying to get a trick out of a squad that is not of the calibre that he was used to. Without dwelling too much on Celtic, the reason why it's really intensifying the criticism of them is because Danny Rule also was aware of the ineptitude of his squad, but he made a fight of it, and he's got them organised, and he's managed to tweak it with players who've come in. Chermiti still is not an out-and-out striker for me, but he's managed to get a trick out of players that other managers couldn't.
I think it's telling that he handed a list over within a month of being in the role, basically the wanted and the unwanted, and I think there was more unwanted than wanted. He completely was aware of the state of play and the poverty of the squad that he had, but he's put the fundamentals back in place. And that's a good coach. He's got a left back now that can play and join the attack, and he's safe. Roland's been great. Mm-hmm. You've got a confidence that Fernandes has shown that was completely absent. Looks really good. I mean, I would have laughed at the speculation he's now getting linked to bigger clubs, but certainly in the evidence of the last few weeks, why not? He looks a different person. Mm-hmm. That comes from the manager. Taverni's delivering again. He's got a fright that he's losing his jersey. He wants to kind of end his days as a starter. These are all things that the manager's managed to bring into the squad that wasn't there. Even when they're underperforming, as they weren't great against Aberdeen, there's still a structure there that gets them by. Against a team that never threw a punch.
Yeah, see if, and we've seen this syndrome so many times, if they drop points against Falkirk, they'll be back to being a dud again in 5 minutes.
Stephen, if they didn't have...
That's a scenario we're in, isn't it?
I'll also say this, Mikey Moore has been the big spark that Rangers have relied on again and again and again. And he's growing, and the fans got this attachment with him. You can see he relishes it. If you don't have a Mikey Moore in the Rangers team, Again, we're having a different conversation because they still lack, in the absence of Mike Camille, they've got a problem there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because the other thing about it is everybody is beating Celtic over the head with it. Is, you know, there's never been a situation where a team has lost more than 8 games to go on and win the title. That merely highlights how poor this whole season has been. The standard of the football, not for everyone, by the way, may I add. Hearts have played some good football. Falkirk definitely. Motherwell have played some exceptional football. And the rest, I think, probably... if you were a teacher marking their card, you would think must do better, had to do better with the resources, should have done better, and then at the bottom you'd think, oh my God, Aberdeen, you're in trouble. But other than that, I'm looking at them now and I think to myself, and this is the point I'm going to ask you guys, because I did ask everybody who's been on the show, has it prompted you to change your mind on the basis that there are still kingmakers out there? There's still a Falkirk to derail somebody. There's still a Motherwell. There's still essentially a Hibs to derail Hearts at Easter Road. So has it changed your mind on where you were maybe a week ago or a couple of weeks ago and who you think is going to win the league?
No. I've been Hearts for some time. I understand the doubts about that, but I think the weakness and the paucity of Celtic and Rangers only adds to my confidence that Hearts can do this. There's a lot of unanswered questions, as we say, about the weight of history, about the players who have not been in that situation before. But I think Rangers' problems away from home. I think Celtic's problems home and away. I think they add to your confidence. Now, you look at those fixtures here, the next 2 before the split, they've all got a bit of a dog in there. You know, I would expect Rangers to beat the United at home. Falkirk away, they've dropped points there already this season. Tricky. Celtic, Dundee away. Can you absolutely trust them to go to Dundee and win again? I'm not sure you can. St Mirren at home's not a bad one for them. Hearts away at Livingston, that's a horrible fixture at the best of times. And then they've got Motherwell at home. So they have all got absolute banana skins coming up.
Yeah.
And predicting it as a game for fools, so I'm going for Hearts.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Listen, I mean, I'll tell you, the thing about it is, this is where I listen, you know, intently and read up on people who are so resolute in their opinion from one week and then change the next week, because that's the way this is done. It's given pundits, ex-footballers, journalists, everyone have an egg in their face. I was consistent for a long period of time that I thought Hearts would win it, and then when Martin O'Neill come back, I thought, no, this guy I've been at games and I'm watching them drag themselves off the floor, and I thought the Martin O'Neill factor's there. Now I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, you can't go to Dundee United and lose 2-0.
No, you can't.
You know, so I'm looking at it and saying to myself, I'm back in the Hearts camp. Where are you?
You've got to stick in your horse. Stick with your... Listen,
No,
logically...
you can't stick with your
hang
horse.
on. Logically, right, Hearts, all the elements are coming back together for them. All the stars are aligning. But you have to say, that key thing, that experience of being able to get that horse moving over the line, Celtic have got that. Hearts don't have it. That's why I'm saying, if they don't have a cushion getting into the break, they won't win the league. The team with that experience will be the one that powers home. And Celtic are the one that are capable of doing that. That's my opinion. I won't change it. I think that result on Sunday is a massive setback for them. But maybe the psychological element might actually work in their favour. They need to get their whip out now, right? And that's what I'm saying. That's why Celtic, with that experience and the know-how of people that have done it before, it's worth its weight in gold.
I still think people... I get your point. There are some in that team who've been over the line. But I think people still talk about Celtic the way Celtic were, rather than the way they are.
I'm not going to... By the way... Nobody's going to batter you just because you're sticking to your guns.
I get battered anyway, don't worry about it.
Absolutely looking at it and thinking, you know, it's not about... I always give Ruffy pelters for it. It's not about a gut feeling. It's about logically not letting your eyes deceive you.
Hang on.
When I go to Hearts on the Saturday, I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's tense. Let's wait and see what they're doing. They're still trying to play football. They're still trying to get it wide. They're trying to get the ball into the box. And they've got, to their credit, enough height and enough late runners that will get into positions that suddenly they can do something. So they're there. The crowd is unbelievable. Tynecastle is a huge bonus for them. So I look at that evidence. Then I watched Dundee United Celtic and I'm thinking, Mother of God Almighty, this team are so predictable. And suddenly suddenly, a bit of, what is it, heresy from Celtic fans saying, not happy with his starting lineup. They're now dissecting Martin O'Neill, who's actually still kept him in the bloody race.
Yeah, I don't think it makes a difference when it was that starting lineup or the one the week before. I mean, I don't think you can pick a Celtic starting lineup. You can hang your hat on.
Absolutely.
You can't trust them. And look at Hearts and set pieces as well. That'll be a factor in the run-in, because Hearts and Rangers less so recently, funny enough, but Hearts, look at Ocean McEntee, pops up whenever you need a goal. So that's going to be a big factor. Every marginal gain advantage that is there, I think Hearts have got it.
It's amazing, like year after year after year, perennially, this conversation's dead air. Celtic have already won the league, there's so many points ahead, there's no expectation.
Magnificent, isn't it?
Great, but you get into taxis now and people say, who do you think will win the league? And you give an opinion. And you stand there.
And they throw you out.
Correct. Right? It's just an opinion, right? Psychologically, it's going to be a huge test of character for people to actually, for every squad that's in the race. And I think the psychological thing's the biggest thing. Biggest thing, because there's no exceptional team there.
So here's one for you. Poor Callum Beattie at the SPFL. Let's envisage a scenario where Hearts and Rangers are going for it, Celtic are falling away. Hearts go to Parkhead.
Oh dear, don't go down that road.
Yeah, we've been down that road, and and again, I thought it was a great point that Tam McManus made on it, which is from a player's perspective. He said, is there any great incentive for Celtic if they're out of it to suddenly hand the title to Rangers? And is there any great incentive for a Hibs side to suddenly beat a Celtic or a Rangers and know that they're going to hand Hearts the title? It is, for me personally, I think players are unbelievably professional. You're always going to get a small element, a percentage of players who don't ring true in any sport. And if somebody thinks I'm being out of order there, I only at this point you to so many moments in history across many sporting battles. There are always a scurrilous element who have less than sporting professionalism in their mind, but I think it's a small percentage. I think teams generally try and go for it. I know we've had situations where Chris Sutton in an interview called into question the Dunfermline players and the manager.
This part of the world people will call into question.
Absolutely
no question about it.
This part at times has got no logic for obvious reasons. But at the end of the day, you have to hold in your mind just that feeling of there's a modicum of decency, professionalism among the majority. But you can't rule out, people who just won't try. I look at this thing here, at the way it's going, and I'm looking and saying to myself, well, what's the end game? The end game for Celtic is quite simply that people will say, thank you, Martin, for giving us hope a little bit of time. That's what the Celtic fans will say to him if they lose. And then they'll go, thank you very much. Second time around, you were, like the previous manager, derailed by the board. So he's got a get out of jail free card. Derek, if he doesn't win it, painful as it may be, the Hearts fans will think, what a roller coaster ride you gave us. Next season we're going to be stronger. Let's give Derek every bit of ammunition. And I still think Danny Rowell is a situation where the Rangers fans will say, wait a minute, we had the totally inept Russell Martin, and this guy got us in where we never thought we would be.
Plus, there's a big difference between finishing second and third. Europa League football or Europa Conference League. That's a lot of money to the clubs. So I wouldn't envisage that the gap will ever be that big or that strong, that there's too much of an incentive for people to take their feet off the gas too much.
Can I ask you this? Do you think there will be a change this summer in clubs' attitude towards recruitment?
For what reason?
I think we are in a situation here where we're going to talk about Scotland shortly, where he, as a manager, if he continues after the World Cup, will have to look and think to himself, I've got an ageing side. I need to start looking for the next generation that are going to come through and try and get Scotland to a major tournament. I think, if anything, I've witnessed too many signings that have not worked out, and we still have a gap of Scottish players coming through. If there's not enough good Scottish players, and somebody out there in the scouts are saying to me, if they're overpriced, if they are not good enough for the ambitions of certain clubs, then I'm willing to listen to that argument. But do you think there'll be a change of mindset? I've seen a couple of really good players that I think can make, I think, great credit to Hibs. They bought Nicky Cadden back. He's injury prone, but when he's in, best crosser of the ball in the country. John McGlynn's got a real trick out of Calvin Miller.
Yeah.
It's a joy to watch.
Yeah.
Barney Stewart is a great newspaper story, isn't it? And then you've got other youngsters.
Well, Celtic and Rangers have to look at their homegrown quota for European football. They need to have 8 Scottish trained players, either association or club trained, in their 25-man squad for Europe.
Yes.
And they are always thinking about these things. So it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world to me personally if Calvin Miller ended up being a Celtic player again, because I think there was interest there in January. I think Celtic are looking at players in the Premiership. Miguel Chaiba of Hibs. Shake your head.
I just don't think this. Go on.
But
Continue.
I'm saying that
He's going to argue.
for the reason of the homegrown squad.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to have that quota.
Yeah.
You need to.
I'll tell you why.
Hang on.
You're going to start a level. You're going to start a levels argument. That's not.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we're-
yeah.
I'm not doing that at all.
That's a different argument because James Forrest can't go on forever, so that's one Scot going.
Yeah.
Cal McGregor can't go on forever, maybe 2 Scots going. So you need to replace them for your European squad. So they need to find Scottish players who can go in and play that level.
Best of luck with that, I would say, because the reason why the poverty of the Scottish game is so bad is because there is nothing. The garden is dry, and what we're doing is we're supplementing it with bringing in mediocre. And what we've got,
nothing.
more or less,
But
you lined off names there, right?
Maybe you put the cart before the horse. Maybe the mediocre players coming in are stopping decent players coming through.
Probably. Lewis Ferguson, again, was somebody that had to go to Hamilton and play his trade and get his move and then go and show what he could do. Wee boy Miller's now in Italy from Motherwell doing the same. Off the top of my head, and there's no great index of talent here that we're missing out on. Who else is there?
Oh, young Watson's a good player.
But David Watson is playing, hasn't progressed, right? He's still a young kid, right? But who's going to come and pay top dollar for him? Can he play for Celtic?
Well,
I don't think so. Can he play for Rangers? I don't think so.
Is there an argument to say, and this is my argument with it, is there an argument to say, I'm not necessarily saying Celtic or Rangers because sometimes they've got a different level in their mind and an expectation from supporters, but is there an argument to say, wait a minute, there's Kilmarnock have shown by example, young Finlay Curtis is getting a regular game of football. So people are seeing what he can do, and Steve Clarke saying, "Listen, I'm going to throw him in the
I think
Scotland
Finlay
squad."
Curtis should have played for Rangers, never mind.
Well, that's what Alec Ray said.
And that brings you back to this point. Are they getting the opportunities? I mean, I did a piece last weekend. I was talking to Rudy Vata, whose son Rocco went to England, obviously. And he was saying there's too many mediocre foreign players who are blocking the path. And I think we all agree in that.
Yeah.
The other factor which we've got to take into account is the impact of Brexit, which is that because English clubs cannot now go and sign young European players under the age of 18, they come here and they take the best young Scots. Yeah. So it looks like we've got a dearth of talent because so many of them are...
Stephen, that would translate itself, if that's true, and I take your point, into our Scotland under-21s, we would get qualifying for finals and getting to European Championships. We don't do that.
That's true.
I think we're kidding ourselves on, because the progression, getting the bridge from players at 18 to 20, 21, 22 with games behind them, we've proven impossible.
But it is the games behind them, it's a problem though, isn't it?
Well,
it might not be a lack of talent.
It's massive. She's a footballer.
It's the fact that you can't... I mean, these kids are talking about going down south. They're not playing first team football, so they're going to struggle to get in the Scotland under-21 team. So you're asking yourself, are they good enough? And you don't really know, because it's very difficult to give a body of work to show what you can do.
I remember making my senior debut and sitting about the dressing room and realised when I heard my name getting mentioned that I was playing. I couldn't believe it. Nearly fell off the chair. Couldn't hold myself. That moment, whereas if you're playing under 21 games, reserve games and all that, you're just functional. That moment and that opportunity, that feeling lives you with you forever. So many kids are coming through and spending decade at a club and not even feeling that way. And what you're finding is, once you get that kid, give them 10 games, that talent either rises or falls. And that if it rises, the sky's the limit because your confidence lifts.
I think we do. I think we do need to look at radical action here, because at the minute, and it's been a good selling point for Scottish clubs, because down south, for an overseas player to come in, he needs to pass a strict points criteria to get a work visa.
Yeah.
Up here, we give them away like swizzle sticks. As a 3-man panel meets, and I think the guy just needs to have a pulse and 2 working legs, and he gets a work visa. And I think we need to look at that.
Yeah.
I think we need to look at making it just a bit more difficult to make sure the quality of player coming in is better and to stop blocking the path of the younger players.
Can I ask you this? I've just taken it and twisted it a wee bit, but are we as a nation and some of the supporters in their base more critical of homegrown players
Oh, yeah.
because I think, somebody like, I'll give you two examples here, and I know you get a bee in your bonnet about one of them, but Anthony Ralston, it's not his fault that he's constantly asked to come in and regularly play for Celtic, and I think he's got 23, 24 Scotland caps. Anthony Ralston goes in and more often than not does a solid job in a Celtic lineup. It's not his fault that he's not at the level that the Celtic fans think, but he's given a hard time. Stephen O'Donnell, equally so. Stephen O'Donnell was in the Scotland squad. Stephen O'Donnell plays for Motherwell. Some people thought last season that was him. He was finished there and he was going to be going down the league somewhere. And suddenly he's galvanised by a coach who put a bit of faith in him. And also Stephen responded to what he thought was facing him. So there are still, Scottish players out there that maybe were just a wee bit overcritical with.
Yeah, and there's also a problem which is sniffiness towards those players. Now, you can imagine, in fact, we did see it with Lewis Ferguson, who for me should have been an obvious apparent Rangers signing for various reasons.
Yes.
But apart from anything, he's a very good player and it's been proven to be. But if you remember when that whole debate was going on, Celtic should be looking at him as well, by the way, but when that whole debate was going on, you would have had a large percentage of message boards saying, he's not good enough for Rangers.
Aye.
He's an SPFL player.
He's not worth $1 million.
And you get that all the time. If a player is from the SPFL, there is a sniffiness and almost a snobbiness towards him, where fans don't want to countenance signing a player for the SPFL. Whereas if a guy they've never heard of 5 minutes previously comes in and he has Ofsky or Ov at the end of his name, he's accepted with open arms.
Yeah, I'll give you a better one than that. I mean, I can remember saying it to him on stage when I was interviewing him, Callum McGregor. Celtic fans were standing up at a dinner one night cheering him. And I said, Callum, you must feel this is absolutely magnificent. This same lot a year ago were quite happy for you to go to Notts County. You know what I mean? He wasn't considered the bee's knees for Celtic then.
How did the crowd take that?
Eh?
How did the crowd take that?
Well, it was great. It was great for me because, as you know, my hobby is leathering them, and that's exactly what it was.
The argument I would make with that is he's gone down to a level which is a St Mirren, a Falkirk, a Motherwell. He's got to Notts County. That's standard. We kid ourselves on about our ranking. We're nowhere near. We are that League One, League Two level predominantly. And that's where he cut his teeth and got the games to go make mistakes and see a different system and learn and grow. Also live away from home. How many of our young players are doing that? Very few.
I just want Scottish players to actually get the old Mark Botta line. I want them to get 100 to 150 games.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Before we get there, we need our young players to start playing football again. And you're talking about what dramatic things should we do?
No, you need a manager to say, listen, this is how we're going to play
We've
football.
got young players, right? Young players that are going through our academies and getting to 16 and 17 and they can actually play. Because we've got coaching systems, we've got academies, we've got Club Scotland, we've got all these things. I don't see kids playing. Unless they're in a structured on an astroturf pitch with a coach telling them to pass to the side, they're nowhere.
Well, I'll buy into that.
Some of these foreign people have been brought up in a kind of footballing on the street environment, which we've killed off. It's come home to roost.
It's a combination of two things. One is, I say, Brexit, where best young players are going down south, not always playing first team football, they're getting lost in that system down there. Although they have categories in the system down there that allows them to find a level. And the other thing I think is the lack of a pathway up here. Scandalous lack of a pathway.
I was also speaking to, over the last week, David Moyes, who rather worryingly said, the flair that you want to see is being coached out of them. Yeah. We're not getting that situation where you can see the flair. I love players being able to take somebody on. And if a Premier League manager of his standing is saying that, it's a worrying thing.
It does feel as if there's an emphasis, certainly in our part of the world, on hard work and perspiration over inspiration.
Stephen, it's a proven fact, right, as a coach. I spoke to a coach about it and he said you can teach any players with a fundamental basic level how to pass the ball and tactical technique. 14, 15, 16. Stephen, the ages of 7 to 12 to 13, that's where you learn how to dribble and express yourself and control the ball off the wall and all that. If you haven't got those fundamentals of being allowed to express that, you don't have that skill set. And I'm going to warn you in this. Sorry to go off at a tangent here. There's a fellow, and this is quite pertinent because Scotland are playing Japan this weekend. There's a fellow, the best coach I've never heard of is a guy called Tom Bayer, who's a kind of father of Japanese football. He's an American from New York who's been in Tokyo for 40 years. And he appeared on kids' TV, basically. And he did all these coaching tips and tricks, and he became a celebrity in Japan.
And he opened up all his performance skills and coaching skills. And two of the players are going to play against Scotland on Saturday. The Feyenoord striker, Ueda, is it? And Doan, who plays for Eintracht Frankfurt, they came through his performance skills. Endo from Liverpool came through as well. He's injured. All these players come through, and he says that actually you need to start coaching football in the home. And this is Japanese culture. It starts earlier than you're saying.
Stephen, you dribbled socks around the living room.
His claim is 3 till 6. You need kids kicking a ball around at the age of 3 or 4 years old and treating that ball as their best favourite toy. Yeah. And if they get to the age of 12 and they don't have the basics, kind of touch into the point you're making at, you might differ on the ages, but if they get to the age of 12 and they don't have the basics, you can put them through all the club academy Scotland you like. It's not going to happen for them.
If I had a young player and he was offered to go into any of the academies, I'd say, don't get your own ball, kick it against the wall. Kick it against the curb. You'll get more touches.
Yeah.
You won't get your head confused by a coach's ambition.
That's his point, yeah.
And I have to say that you kicked an orange and that about your living room, a tennis ball and all that, didn't you?
We never had oranges. There was real poverty in
Pears. Pears was it? Bananas. Bananas would explain it. But the ball became part of you, and you walked to school with it under your arm. What I'm saying to you is now, the canary in the mine was the shutting of all the playing fields, building the houses on it, and then the absence of kids actually playing. See, when the summer comes, go and look and see if there's anybody playing. If we're not playing, we don't provide players.
I think poverty was probably quite good for Scottish football.
Poverty was, yeah. That's definitely true.
I hope it doesn't catch on.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say to you, and I think it's pertinent to what you were talking about there, is you do have to work on your skills. It's a programme we could dedicate to the whole thing, but I think, you know, I go back to what David Moyes said as well. We crave those players. We celebrate the ones who still are able to do it, because it's an absolute joy to watch them, because they've got a trick, because they're comfortable on the ball. Last night, when you're in that situation, many of us are like this. We suddenly get to a situation where there's nobody in the house, and you think, I can watch whatever I want. And I suddenly watched. I thought, I'm going to watch the Diego Maradona documentary again.
Brilliant.
And it was just absolutely fantastic. And I can remember watching Scott Sport when Arthur Montfort said, there's a young boy in Argentina who everybody's raving about, and they showed you this old black and white footage of him with his foot just keeping the ball up. But then as the programme progresses, the documentary, he's keeping the ball up on his heel. Yeah. And how many people in Scotland could keep the ball up for 2, 3, 4, 5
Can I quickly say
heel?
this? You had a guest in the studio this week, Alec Ray. I played with his brother Derek, played with Rangers. Eric Ray was an absolute genius, and the ball, he didn't even look at the ball when he spraying past it, he's touching all that, didn't look at it, didn't need to, because Duke Street gave him that.
Yes.
Alec had Duke Street in him as a player. You're not getting past me, I'm taking you out, I'm going to go and win this, because of his environment. That's all gone now. That's why we no longer have a James McFadden.
Pierce all this negativity by saying that this week Diego Maradona's son, who obviously in Naples, said that Maradona was God, but McTominay is Jesus. So we have a player who's being hailed as a world-class deity. Yes. So, we're still going to have decent players.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, we should celebrate him. He scored one of the greatest goals Scotland's ever seen. I mean, it's an overhead kick.
I know.
It's unbelievable the way he connected with it. So we should celebrate that. You're absolutely right. I just worry about the fact that, the system of coaching it out of them. We're now in a situation where I said continually, and as Gordon Strachan used to say, you better be lucky than good sometimes. And if there's a wee bit of luck, there's a generation that came through that Steve Clarke was able to look at and say, okay, more players, rather than, remember we were just looking, there was only one player, Darren Fletcher, playing the English Premier League. More players are playing in it. John McGinn comes back from injury, and the Aston Villa fans, to a man and women, are going, oh my God, thank God he's back, because he scored 2 goals in the space of 7 days.
There's not a single Scottish Premiership player in the midfield of Scotland just now. Yeah. I was looking at it yesterday. Andy Irving, Sparta Prague, you've got the Napoli boys, you've got Lennon Miller at Udinese, you've got McGowan at Aston Villa. You have players who are playing in proper, serious leagues. That's good news.
Final point about that.
Yeah.
I hate to put the prophet of doom on you again, but the 2 people that co-authored the white paper on where the Scottish football's pathways and where we're going wrong.
Is this think Tank 1 or Think Tank 2? Or is this
Andy Gould.
Yeah.
Right? Andy Gould went on BBC and this is the way forward. Is now leaving his job. As is his co-author, right? They're running for the house.
Yes.
Don't know where Andy's going, but he's been in the job for 20 odd years, as have others.
Yeah.
They've obviously realised that the white paper, pink paper, blue paper is toilet paper.
Okay, just on that point, Scotland, Japan, then against the Ivory Coast in the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Finlay Curtis included. Nice little headline for everybody on the youngster getting regular football at Kilmarnock. Has he got an outside chance of being in that squad, or is it just a wee bit of tokenism?
He probably has, yeah. I mean, look, I think there's definitely an element of Steve Clarke saying, look at me, I do pick new players. You know, I think there's an element of that. But I think that because there's 26 players going, there will be one or two slots for a younger player or two. So I think he's got a chance.
Yeah, just to be in the squad.
Yeah.
Do you think Steve Clarke now, I mean, just in the point that we've been asking over the past couple of weeks, Stephen Naismith yesterday said that he thinks that Steve Clarke's future will be settled before a ball is kicked at the World Cup.
It's got awkward. It's got awkward, isn't it? I think it probably has to be because there were discussions before he had his press conference where he said that he's not had an offer, either from Scotland or from a club. And that made it awkward because I think there were people seeing his positions in the SFA who felt, I'm not going to be bounced into giving this contract necessarily. But I think if they don't sort something out to give Clarke a new contract to say the Homegrown Euros in 2028, then you're going to have every single press conference between now and the Haiti game with people asking about Steve Clarke. Players, coaches, Clarke himself.
That's exactly the way Steve Clarke wants it.
And I think there's a danger of a distraction.
Do you give him the deal?
I do, yeah.
You give him the deal?
I do. Because I take the point that he could have a disastrous World Cup and then people will turn against him. But he's still got enough credit in the bank, I think, because he's ultimately the first Scotland manager to take the national team to 3 different finals. Now, if he has another Hungary, that's going to be really difficult and awkward. But ultimately, I think they can justify it if they give him a new contract.
Do you think he needs to change his tactics?
I'd like to see Scotland have a go over in America.
So would I.
Yeah, I think if you put...
Give him a new deal?
No, I wouldn't, because he should have gone after the Euros, and I'm sorry to say it, he should have gone. But also, if he goes, how many Scotland fans are they're going to applaud him and they're going to say great achievements, which you can't take away, have been brilliant, but they've had their fill. And... He's
got probably the claim as the best Scotland manager.
That's a label, right? What your eyes... Let's be honest, right? He did top the group, a difficult group.
He beat Spain, he beat
fantastic,
Denmark.
Right?
Nobody fancied them.
Qualifying for tournaments now, it's a fact, is easier, far easier than it was. And Scotland are coming to the end of a cycle of players that have carried them.
They didn't qualify for that one because it was easy.
100%.
They finished top of their group.
Great. What I'm saying is, I would have had him gone before that.
Aye.
And I think the Scotland support, the rump of it, would be neither nonplussed if he wasn't to stay on.
I think the SFA created a problem for themselves by not dealing with this sooner.
Yeah.
I think it should have been dealt with at the end of last year.
They obviously don't want to give him the contract, by the way, because the contract would be signed and sealed, and they would go with trumpets blame because they don't want that openness either.
It's a good point. It's something to debate. We'll wait and see if he is worthy of a contract. Would you give him a contract? Put it in the comments section below. It's always a hot debate. Some people will just look and judge him on his merits. The remit, get us to a major tournament. He's succeeded in that. I think he's a thoroughly decent man. I've got a lot of time for him. I like him. I just want him to be positive. I want him to be on the front foot in America with Scotland. I think he's got limitations with the players, and understand that we can't go gung ho, but I think we need to go gung. Never mind ho, because the Euros, certainly there was no gung at all.
A lot of dung.
Yeah, well, that's another matter completely. Just before we finish, and I'll give you the quiz answer shortly, but Mo Salah said that he is leaving at the end of the season. Not too bad if they're letting him go for free, because he's got a chance to earn the 400,000 that he's giving up. But I think he'll earn considerably more in his next move, even though he's 33, 435 games, 4 Premier League Golden Boots, Player of the Year 3 times, Premier League, he scored 189 goals and 92 assists, and he's the third all-time top goal scorer. So how many goals has he scored? There's your quiz question that we
just
asked
told
you.
us.
Well, no, that's 189 Premier League goals if you'd listen. So how many goals had he scored overall to become the third all-time top goal scorer at Liverpool? And the answer was 255. So that's the answer to the quiz. Does he make it into the greatest ever 11?
Of Liverpool?
Yeah.
God. See, I'm thinking back to Rush, Dalglish. But yeah,
Yeah.
along with those
Do
two.
you want my 11?
Go on.
Clements in goal, Neil right back, Hansen, Van Dijk and Andy Robertson, Gerrard, Souness, Keegan, Dalglish, Rush and Salah. And I know people will clamour for the likes of a John Barnes or a
John Barnes is the
or a
one that's
Roger
missing
Hunt.
for me. It's the only one that sticks out. You know, you
Is he
get
better than Keegan? Keegan won 2 European Footballers of the Year.
Keegan, yeah, Keegan.
Is he better than Keegan?
staggering that you can't find a place for John Barnes, but you're
No,
right.
tell me who-
No, I agree with you.
who's going
I
on?
agree with you, but the one name that's like
He's
John.
not taking
I said John.
Souness's place, is he? And John Barnes, I love John Barnes. He's one of my favourite Liverpool players, but I can't find a place.
I would also put the current keeper ahead of Clements.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a shout, isn't it?
Listen, yeah, I think he's better.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know.
You're just thinking of Ken Dalglish in the 76.
I'm thinking, put the ball through his legs. I mean, with the best one, the current guy he's never been nutmegged at Wembley.
That's
So
a very good point. That's a very good point. But Partsy, I can't find a place for Barnes, and it kills me to say that. But
And I would love to find a place for Peter Beardsley.
Peter Beardsley was
John Work. John Work's stats are off the chart.
John Watt's stats are off the chart, really, for a lot of Ipswich Town. Was he was better?
Liverpool. I think you'll find his
No, he was
stats
a-
incredible.
He was Liverpool. I'm not knocking his stats. I'm saying, but he really.
I'm
made
just
his
saying,
name.
what a team when you can't get talents like that.
Roger Hunt, who is up there with Rush, is the two in front of Salah for all-time goal scorer. You know,
Toshak,
yeah,
St John.
all great players. But I mean, that's a special 11. I think the reasons for it, as ever with these things, he scores last season, drives them onto the title. I actually think he's leaving, and I think the manager might be following him out the door.
Possibly.
You know, because he fell out with him. Possibly there was a fallout with Richard Hughes, and he had that explosive burst after the Leeds United game. But I think he'll be able to go with his head held high. He's actually managed to stage manage it in such a way that there'll be a fanfare.
Salah has? Yeah, absolutely. And he'll go to Saudi, you would imagine. And what will he earn in Saudi Arabia?
Maybe not anymore.
Oh?
Yeah.
Would you go to Saudi?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for 500,000, I would. I'd take all the hassle that goes over there. At the moment.
I wouldn't be going the current. It depends how stable a place
As an
is.
Egyptian, I think going to Saudi Arabia, I think it would be a big thing for football in that part of the world as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, absolutely. Would you take? Are you kidding me?
Can I go to Saudi?
Anywhere for £500,000 a week. Absolutely. Parts is a no-brainer. Suddenly there's a threshold that Gordon Parks won't step over. Wow.
You would go for a fortnight and you're made for life.
Damon, anywhere but Saudi.
Exactly, yeah. But to be fair, listen, we're trying to get you 50 to 100 games and you're knocking it back. I can't believe you. You're the problem with Scottish football. Chance for you to resurrect your career. Listen, good topics. Hopefully you enjoyed them. You've got your own opinions on these things as ever. Thanks to Elite Joinery and Fire Protection for our quiz question there as well. And as ever, Blair Park Properties for sponsoring the Journos. Every week we give it to you, our opinion, and we like to hear yours as well. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Come and join the PLZ family. And of course, as well as Scotland this weekend, we'll give you Steve Clarke's thoughts closer to the big kick-off there. You can follow it across all our social media. Why not download the app? And from tomorrow morning, we'll have that link for you to join the 50 greatest ever Scottish Premiership players from 1975 onwards. I've been really kind about it. I'm giving all generations over the last 40 odd years the chance to jump in there and suggest a player. I'm not looking for the best. I'm looking for you to suggest who you think as a player should be in that 50. And everybody who takes part in the competition will pick out one lucky winner, and that person will get a painting from the sports artist Gio Thompson of their favourite player. So it suddenly...
A painting of Partsy.
Well, if somebody out there wants to suggest Gordon Parks and actually saw him play, because as I sit in that midfield with him,
it's a very good point you make. Very good point.
So there are a few out there who, listen, some people would give their right arm to have been a professional footballer, so you're very lucky. Give us your thoughts on it. Just out of curiosity, who would you put if you're on the computer and you're saying, I've got to put somebody in, not necessarily the best player ever, but somebody who should be in that top 50? Somebody that we might not have mentioned.
Without giving away my allegiances as a young boy, when I'm watching Hans Hielshuis, for me, Hans Hielshuis was a favourite.
Yes.
Somebody that I would have loved to have met and spoke to. Somebody that it was an absolute beautiful footballer.
Great left peg on him.
Fantastic.
Yep. Hans Hielshuis is one. Have you got somebody?
I think if the Aberdeen teams of 1983 and the Dundee United team of 1983 are not in it wholesale, there'll be something wrong.
That's a good point.
That's like 22 already.
Yeah. Do you think Dunfermline fans will vote for Isvan Cosma?
More John Watson, probably.
Can I tell you a quick story, just finish with this, right? Like, you're talking about the aura have a favourite player, you want to meet him, you hang about for his autograph and all that. I was that kid. I signed for Dundee United, Maurice Malpass, Paul Hegarty. You name them, Sturrock, they're all there. And I went in as a young kid into the and my job was to hand towels and pants. Towels and pants, after training, towels and pants. See when you're handing David Neary a towel and he's bare backside and he's rubbing himself. That shattered my world.
But worried about where
shattered my world.
Yes.
Because the aura, the mystique, you don't want to see it. You don't want to see Maurice Malpass's backside.
Yeah.
It was too much. And these guys were like, you kicked it. I had him in my Panini album, now I'm seeing his backside. Sometimes when you're in the game, it's just, it shatters the myths.
Yeah, well, and it's good to know that Dukla Pumperson Parks is still handing out towels. He's found his vocation in life.
Still looking at hairy backsides.
And on that note of backsides that I never thought we were going to get to this programme, why didn't I end the programme 3 minutes ago? That's what I'm asking myself right now. Thanks to Parsley, thanks to Stephen Mcgowan, thank you for watching.